we have maybe 3 years from Russian invasion to Ukraine. You have been a part of the European Parliament. As for sanctions, European sanctions, do you think that these sanctions works?
Not perfectly, and it's very seldom you can expect that the sanctions are perfect, but they have harmed, and only recently Russian ruble has been suffering. It took very long time, but at the same time, you know that the dependency on the Russian fossil fuels, which was cut, the dependency, it still comes, but it's not that much. It's stupid for Europe to pay €1 billion a day for Russian fossil energy. So the energy dependency and cutting of this kind of dependency has been part of sanctions, which is also politically for the climate and for our own resistance like better way. So I'm strongly in favor of sanctions. Also, we do have personal sanctions because it's not morally right that the Putin's close allies can travel and enjoy European way of life and liberties. So that we will keep for us and not for the criminals.
Yes. Should Europe continue with these sanctions and spread them?
Yes, to implement them better, to implement them more clearly, and necessary is that no Western technology is found in the bombs that Russia is using against civilians, against energy infrastructure, to try to freeze a nation in the winter. So we still unfortunately find loopholes that has given Russian army the Western technology to armaments, and that this needs to be stopped. So we also have new European legislation that also circumvention is more on the duty of the companies, of the European companies, so that they should better know where their products are sold. Even the first customer might be someone from the country that is not Russia, but then better know the customers and change is important. So I'm not giving up on the sanctions to make it, because stopping the sanctions, Putin could buy anything anywhere he wants. This is not the European way.
The government in Finland has changed. Does also change approach to Russia in Finland?
No, I think we have very few topics that we are so much united across border. So even the Social Democrat-led Marin government was very strict and straightforward to support Ukraine and not accept this Putin war. Also now when we have Christian Democrat-led and even the True Finns, which is the most far-right party you find in Finland, on this we share the same idea. And I think it becomes from our history. We have had exactly 85 years ago in March, the last day. The same happened for Helsinki and Finland. That happened to Ukraine in February 22. So you had the Russian came over the border, and we thought that time is over, and we saw Russian taking the mask away, as our former president said, and showed the cold face that it still have these emperor kind of dreams of the whether the gray zone or then even to come over the border. So we stand with Ukraine, and that is like 99% support from Finnish people. I would say the figures might be not that high, but politically all the parties are favoring to support Ukraine. And important is that Ukraine is supported even today, so it can one day start the negotiation on the stronger footings than to start some negotiation without countries to help him and the country of Ukraine to survive.
Finland has a very long border with Russia. Now the checkpoints are closed. People can't go to Russia and back. What is the reason?
The reason is that Russia is easily using hybrid tools against our security and make us feel uncomfortable. So that was the reason. The government first closed the borders occasionally and then tried to open, and immediately we could see that people were transported, not immigrants by their own will, but more like a hybrid threat to collect people and put them on the border, or organized trips close to border and then given bicycles or whatever you find to come closer to borders. This is not a natural flow of immigrants or people. It is hybrid attacks what Russia is organizing. So that has led to the point that the border is still closed.
Finland also started to build the fence on the border. Is it enough?
No. The fence issue is not a wall like we have read on the Trump's wall against Mexico. The fence in Finland was planned to the crossing points because they exist in the middle of the forest mostly, 1,300 kilometers. You never have a wall or fence, but the fence is close to those checking points that you cannot invade, or you cannot like invade the crossing point customs people working there, but you stabilize that in case there is a flow of people coming, you can get in an order and slow down the possible pressure. So make it controlled as the officials need to do that. So if the pictures are seen from the fence itself is not much higher than the kindergarten fences, as we were joking. But then, of course, it is something that you need to stop and do if you don't want to use the crossing point, and do it legal way, or leave your papers as an immigrant have to do, and so. So that was the idea of the fences, close the crossing points in case of unstable situation.
You are more than 2 years members of NATO. Do you see benefits of that?
Yes, Finnish people still support the NATO. It is not hype anymore as it used to be. 1.5 years ago, we joined the application, took more than a year, and then it was like the decision to make. And the opinion polls changed from 20 to 80% support in one spring. And then now it's time to really implement what that means for us. And there's a lot of discussion, like normal discussions, how to integrate. And also NATO is doing its own strategical planning. So we see that it's very important to remember that these northern parts are part of NATO and needs to be stable and good for too. I think the most acute issue is Baltic Sea, which is now surrounded by the NATO member states. So, and we see that it's important for Russia to transport even the oil and other eco-catastrophic threats exist. But also it's very unstable if you don't look at it properly. So yes, for Finland, it's EU membership, it's 30 years, NATO membership 1.5. They both make us more strong and more independent than being alone, is the shared feeling.
You are also interested in energy. So can you tell, is now Finland totally independent to Russian energy?
Practically, yes. The last piece was that we still had like nuclear from Russian sources, but then our biggest energy company who was using the nuclear energy as a material informed already a year ago that now they are in the situation that they can give it up. And also it took long after decision that we don't want to buy gas that we really could stop it, but the amounts were very small that we paid anyway because of the legal terms. Electricity was stopped, and so yes, we have done it. And at the same time, we didn't forget the climate goals. So we are in a good situation with the energy. Finnish electricity, for many surprise, is 95% emission free. So we are really much looking forward to new industrialization with the clean energy and not depending on the fossil fuels from Russia.
It's interesting. We don't see any smoke. Yes. Here in Finland.
Yeah, we never were using gas for heating. It was exceptionally 20,000 houses or something were using gas, and most of them for cooking. So gas in Finland was not a general source of the energy. It was specialized, and that is replaced with the floating energy terminal.
Oh, I see. We mentioned sanctions at the beginning, and one of the biggest topics of last week's is this confiscation of Russian assets in Helsinki and in Finland because of the trial between Ukraine and Russia. So can you tell me, is it a really big topic in Finland?
Actually, it's not a big topic. Naftogaz asked legally after the ICC decision already the spring 23 that because of Russia destroyed so much its property, so Russia destroyed Ukrainian property on energy, and ICC said that that's true. So then there's a legal way of them prevent that Russia will disappear or sell the property out. So that's why it was confiscated, that Russia cannot make the property disappear. So that was more a legal issue that Finland complemented according to international law and order. So that's why it didn't maybe pay that big attention of the Finnish media and others. But it's done, and we will do accordingly on the international decisions also in the future.
And Europe also discuss the problem of confiscation of frozen assets that can be used for reconstruction of Ukraine. It's a big discussion and long discussion. And do you see any results of that? Because, for example, in our country, we have many block assets of Russian Federation and oligarchs, companies, and now we are waiting what to do with that asset.
Yeah, the Russian central bank assets, already the first decision was made that the what is created of the money there, you can confiscate that one, but then the capital itself, it's more difficult, and it's not only Europe, it was Europe and America together, and it was on the board of the G7, so it's very important. It's the global issue, but of course the euro holds the biggest amounts of that cash kind of money of the European Russian Central Bank. So I'm very happy that the first decision was done already. And then now we need to do it legally, and we need to do with the political will, and both you can find support from Finland.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.